The project at hand today is installing these cab lights on the top of the truck. This kit was like $35 and it came with these smoked amber cab lights. This is the wiring harness it comes with. Quick plugins. Positive wire runs through the firewall down your A-pillar to the this runs to the parking light, which I have located. So this is the parking light harness, and I basically stuck that green positive wire, that hot wire, into all of these ports, and then grounded out the other wire, and I found which one was power, and it's the middle port is power. So when I run that wire through the A-pillar into the firewall down to here, I want to splice it into this middle wire here to grab power from that parking light. So yeah, I've put about an hour of disassembling in so far. So front grille, headlight, a lot of internal pieces so that we could get this headliner to droop because we need to get through here. I had to take apart seatbelt pillars, all the handles, lights, front mirrors, so the A-pillar pieces. So headliner is hanging down, so the next thing to do is going to be to map out where the lights go on the roof and to start drilling and setting that up, and then we'll run the wiring harness down here. So what I did is I laid out some masking tape over the area that the lights would be so that I could Sharpie my placement and not right on my roof, but have everything perfect, because I'm gonna measure twice with this. You really can't mess this up, so rather be safe than sorry. So I recommend doing this, measuring multiple times and getting this part of it perfect. So this is the general formation, just eyeball what I like. This is pretty close to factory as well. I looked up some reference photos. So 3 in the middle, and then the other 2 are a little bit wider out. So I'd recommend using those bulges in the roof as reference points, but I'm gonna mark up specifics and measure, and we'll get this pretty close to factory, if not the best we can do. All right, this is what I like. This is what I came up with. Pretty close to factory. So they'll be a little bit adjustable as well before we fully tighten the bolts down. So I guess we start drilling. Let's feed the wiring harness through here first, but then we'll start drilling. Another thing to note, I bought some clear waterproof silicone to waterproof this job. But yeah, let's feed this wiring harness through. All right, here's where we're at. I changed the way I fed the harness through. So I put all the connectors on this side of this pillar and then fed the wires through this little gap. And then ran my power line down my A-pillar, and it's gonna go through the firewall. The earth wire I'll just drill it in right there for a ground connection. So I drilled all my holes and fed my connectors through this. As you can tell, that's the outside world. Fed my connectors through. This is a 1/2-inch hole. So yeah, we'll connect all these up, silicone these, and finish wiring, splice that into the parking light. I also need to bolt in the lights to the roof. So let's do that now. And there they are, bolted down. Got the tape off. Screwed the lenses back on. Fed all the wires through the roof, and we'll connect them. And then we'll get power to this line, and we'll connect our ground probably to like right there. Clean up some metal and use that as our ground. So let's get to wiring. I tried to use this as a ground, and it wasn't a good enough ground, so I'm gonna have to maybe make this wire a little longer and run it the same route to a better ground that will actually connect. I ran my power down there, down this hole under here into next to the steering column. Make sure that's out of the way so it doesn't get caught up on the steering column. Zip tied it up there, once again, out of the steering column's way. Around down the side, coming out right here by my headlight, and I'm going to solder. I had to extend the wire a few inches, it wasn't quite long enough. I'm going to solder that connection, and I spliced it into the brown wire, which is power for my running lights, and we'll solder that in there as well. And then this should be connected. Again, ground wire, gonna have to extend it, maybe run it, I don't know, maybe I'll run it out, maybe I won't. There might be a ground somewhere closer, we'll check it out, but let's get soldering on this wiring. And here's what we got. We got power. So I spliced in the line, made a 3-way connection to my parking lights. So we got power. And for my negative, I just put it right there. It ended up being a good enough connection, so it rocks. So yeah, I guess we're gonna silicone our holes, waterproofing, and then put everything back together. And that's the silicone, clear silicone. I just filled all those holes up and made sure it was surrounding all the holes. If I have any issues, I'm gonna silicone around the outside of the housing, but for now, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. They look really good. And here's the final product. Headliner back in, everything back together. I put 2-inch wheel spacers on as well, kind of like the stance. The lift, I'm getting the lift put in 2 days, and I'm buying 35 by 12.5 off-road tires, so that'll give me some more stance and look cool. And I'm buying different rims as well, so it's gonna be a nice rig. But so that install was actually more than I thought it was gonna be, but you know what, I think it turned out good. So that's it for today. That does it.